So this is the second part of my Witchy room tour, and I have a couple of these brown shelving units that I use to store things in. I thought I'd just show those real quick. I'm on top of one of the shelves. This is my grimoire that I've been using for quite a while. First shelf contains some miscellaneous jars and some spare poppets. I buy these poppets separately. I like to use poppets in my magics every now and then. I buy these pre-made poppets because here's my version of a homemade poppet. Looks more like a gingerbread man than anything. I still plan on using it, but I'm not too talented with making my own, so I like to use these poppets that I bought. Let's see, in the second drawer I've got some all sorts of different colored papers and felts. I like, if I were to make my own poppet, I might use some of these colored felts and make my own spell bags, that sort of thing. On the bottom, I keep spare votive candles. I either use charm or chime candles, taper, or these small votives. I love these small votives. There's a company that I buy a pack, like a multicolored pack from. I'll put the link in the description box, but I really love these. They're 10-hour votives, so they're smaller than your typical votive. They come in these colors. They come in pink, light purple, dark purple, brown, red, orange, green, yellow, and blue. So I'm going to pull out one. So like this gives you an example of the size of the poppet. Sorry, of the size of the small votive candle. So I love using these in my color magic when I want to use candles of a specific color. Here I've got my little pixie belt. I keep that, I use this pixie belt for a utility belt. It's got some pockets, and I keep like lighters and matches and just various things that I might use in my ritual. It's just convenient to have it right here around my waist. And then I have another brown shelving unit that I keep some extra supplies in. On top of it, I've got this cone incense burner. I picked this up in Edinburgh in Scotland a couple years ago. I love it. It's a little witch's hat. Smoke from the cone incense comes out the top. And I picked up, this is from a shop in Etsy. It's Witch's Brew cone incense. I love it. It's really strong. It smells really good. And these are kind of tall, big cones, so they last a while. This drawer, it has a bunch of ribbon. I like to use color magic, so I like to pick out colors of ribbons and bags that pertain to a spell that I'm working on. I do love to use these bags. I got a big bag of organza bags that come in many colors. For example, here's a blue one. Let's see, I've got a red one in here, black. They have yellows, oranges, purples, pinks. I really love using those in spell bags and charm bags when I want to have a specific color. Got some hemp rope. And let's see, but I also like using spice bags as well for my spell and charm bags. Sometimes I'd rather use a spice bag. I think I got this pack of spice bags from either Amazon or Hobby Lobby. I can't remember, but I think they're easy enough to find. But what I like about these is you can like draw or write on them. You can put symbols on them. Like this is, I'm going to use this for a money draw bag, and so I just drew a $sign on the front. But so I like using those. The middle drawer I've got different glitters, which I use from time to time. And I've got some chalk labels and the chalk pencil and chalk marker. I love that chalk marker. It's really bright. It does well on these chalk labels. I got all this from Hobby Lobby. And then I use these as like spell globes. And I'll show you how I use them. Basically, they just come apart. I have two different sizes. I got this size and a smaller size. But basically I just add material. I might add herbs, dried flowers, any number of things I might put in here pertaining to a specific spell. I close it up and then I hang it. I might hang it from in front of a window or in my kitchen, just various places throughout the house. I like these too because you can pull them apart. I'm able to fit like spell papers or petition papers inside here. Every once in a while I'll do that. So instead of putting a petition paper in a honey jar, sometimes I'll just put it in one of these spell globes and let it hang. So yeah, so those are my pixie belt and 2 storage drawers. On the other side of my room, I have another tapestry. This one is like a fantasy fairy forest tapestry, and I also got this from dresslily.com. I think it's so beautiful. It kind of looks like you're in a cave and you're looking out into the night sky and looking at the full moon. I like those 2, like glowing lamps hanging from inside the cave, and it's got a little bit of water also inside the cave. I just think it looks so beautiful. Dress Lily has a bunch like this that are sort of fairy-like or fantasy-like. They're pretty, and the colors are very they just look, to me it's just a decent quality tapestry, and it probably only cost me like $15. So over in this corner, I keep my besom here. I keep a cauldron with some miscellaneous odds and ends, and I keep some fairy books that I collect. I did want to show you this coloring book. I love this. It's a Halloween coloring book, and it's by Molly Harrison, and she has beautiful pictures of witches in this book to color. I really love it. I've colored a few pictures already. I'd like to do some more here pretty soon, but everyone has pretty much every picture has a witch in it, and usually it has a cat to color, and it's just really pretty. I love this. I love this. I don't know if I've ever seen one that had witches in it. I mean, they're probably out there. I just haven't seen any. But yeah, it's Halloween coloring book by Molly Harrison. I'll put it's available on Amazon Prime, I think. I'll put the link in the description box if you're interested in checking it out. I love this book. This is it's like a coffee table book, and it's called The Fairyality, the fashion collection from the House of Elwand. And what I like about this book is the concept is that it's showing us like high fairy fashion. So, and I swear these look real. Like for example, here's a bridesmaid's dress. It's made from stargazer lilies with a poppy top. It's just beautiful illustrations. Like here's a guy's cutaway jacket. This is supposed to be the groom's jacket, but just the artwork is so pretty. I love having this in my collection. I got Lady Coddington's Press Fairy book, which I really love. I think it's really funny. So the concept here is Lady Coddington, who lived in the late 1800s. When she was a girl, instead of pressing flowers, she would catch and press fairies. But it does say in the book that the fairies themselves aren't pressed, it's their psychic imprint that's left on the page. But anyway, it's just really silly. I like having this in my collection. And I had this picture. I got the calendar version of the pressed fairy book, and I pulled this picture out because I thought it was pretty funny. So I got so that's the psychic imprint of a pressed fairy. I want to put that up on the wall here in my witchy room somewhere. I just got to figure out where to put it. Another quick thing I wanted to share, because I had this over in this corner too. I mean, it's not related to books or anything, but I have this box of wax, and this is a craft that I really enjoy. What I like to do is create my own, kind of blend my own wax to create like witchy scents or even Halloween scents. So like, for example, I wanted to create a blend of wax that I can put in my wax warmer, and I called it Witch's Potion. I just got a plastic baggie and made a label and printed it off and put it on here. So what I like to do is just go to the store. You know, at Walmart you can get these waxes for $2 each, and I like to go to other brands too and get their wax. But like for the Witch's Brew, I popped out a couple blocks of chilled pomegranate wine. I included some mahogany sandalwood to kind of give it a more mysterious sort of scent, and then I added ghostly treats, which sweetens it up just a touch. So I took these wax, I blended them together and heated them up to melt. And then, you know, what you can do, you can just reuse one of these if you want to. You pour them in, you know, the empty squares here, let them harden and pop them out, and you got your own little wax cubes. Stick them in a baggie to you know, so that you remember what you called it. And yeah, another one I made, I call this Haunted Pumpkin, and for this one I included this, again I got at Walmart. spiced vanilla embers. It gives it a kind of a bonfire scent. And then I included Pumpkin Twilight from Yankee Candle. It's a votive that a lot of times I buy votives and then just break them up, and then spiced or forbidden apple. And so these blended together and make a really nice Halloween scent. So yeah, that's just some ideas on, you know, going out and finding cheap wax, blending them together to kind of create your own unique blends. So here's another shelving unit where I keep some items on. In the back, that green jar is powdered wormwood. I got a couple tarot decks and a Witchlings deck and book set on there. Some oils that I bought. This in the back is it's a scrapbook. It's called Once Upon a Time, and I use that to keep some spells in. It comes, well, separately you can buy beautiful scrap book paper to go with it, and I thought I'd show them to you real quick because they're so darn pretty. I just tacked them up on the wall so I can show them to you. But it's like they're beautiful, like fairy tale scrapbook paper. This one's called Touch of Magic. Really beautiful. I love this brown one. It has fairies on a toadstool. This one's kind of fun. It looks like a magic potions. Another pretty one down there. Yeah, it's called the Once Upon a Time stack, and I just love it. And then also on the shelf, I keep my homemade oils that I made. It's one of my most favorite things to do, like witchy craft type things to do. So I made several recently. I made a Samhain night oil, and I am going to use this, you know, like the week of Samhain. And I added, first of all, I enjoyed making this label. It's really pretty, I think. And then I added yarrow, wormwood, and mugwort to it, and then I added oils of patchouli and lavender. So, you know, my thought was, you know, use it as sort of for psychic ability and lifting the veil and that sort of thing. This is another oil that I made. It's my prosperity oil. I really enjoyed making the label on this one. So I put bergamot, no, sorry, yeah, I put oils of bergamot and patchouli in there, and then I included oak moss and dried chamomile flowers. And again, the idea is to promote financial success and to draw in some extra money. And then finally, I had recently made this one. I call it my new broom oil, and I called it new broom and like put a little broom in a fairy's hand there. But my idea is using this oil in a spell where my goal is to sweep away negativity, sweep away the negativity so that I can bring in positivity. So I included, you know, oils of rose, geranium, patchouli, frankincense, and myrrh, and sweet orange, I think is what I put in there. So that's the top shelf. So this is the second shelf. You'll see the lighting is different. I accidentally deleted this part of my video, so I'm refilming it a little bit later at night. So anyway, on this shelf I have my Brian Froud's Fairy Oracle, which I really love. Here's the Oracle cards. I just love the illustrations on those. I have a couple of fairy flower blends right there that I use in like my fairy magic. I've got a travel besom that I keep on the shelf. Over here is the very first like magical journal I ever put together. This is probably about 20 years old or so. I now have a grimoire, but before my grimoire I used this magical journal, and I still keep it because it's like nostalgic for me. This is a fairy cone incense burner. And here I wanted to show just a handful of like little crafts that I like to do. I like to create, and I think I had this in a couple videos ago, but I like to create magical solid perfumes. And also I like to create salves and balms and ointments, all depending on the magic that I'm working on. I just recently made this. It's a lucid dreaming, I call it my lucid dreaming flying ointment. And I made this because I recently picked up a couple books on lucid dreaming, and I'm really fascinated by that concept, and I'd like to learn how to do it. So I decided to make myself a lucid dreaming ointment to kind of help me in that endeavor. So in my ointment I added some mugwort and some yarrow and some powdered wormwood. I added oils of cedarwood, clove, and rose, and then I added this pink carnelian chip in there. So that's my my lucid dreaming flying ointment. I also made an energizing flying ointment, but I kind of use this, I like to use this as a lip balm because I collared it a little bit, but this one has oils of peppermint, spearmint, and lemon, so you know, it's just whenever I put it on I feel very energized, so this was fun to make. I made another one. I love this label. I found this picture online and made the label. It's so, so pretty. I call this my Calm and Prosperous Balm. It's like it's a pretty little balm. It's got a little bit of metallic color to it. And this one I added bergamot, patchouli, and vanilla. Bergamot and patchouli are great for prosperity. Bergamot is also a very uplifting oil, and vanilla for me is very calming. So I really like this balm. I like to use this. Real quick, I wanted to share with you another way to make these balms, like these ointments and balms. How I like to use, I gotta fix that. How I like to use them is I use 1 part beeswax to just under 1.5 parts coconut oil. That's how I make my balms. They're just soft enough to scoop out of the tin and rub them on your skin. And by the way, I have these tins where you can get them on the description box because I really love these things. They're really easy to make your balms and salves in. But sometimes I like to make my balm more like an ointment, a little bit more soft that you can scoop out and, you know, rub on your skin. And for those, I like to use these containers. They're tiny little tubs, and I like to use these to go actually. So if you have like lotion or an ointment or anything that, especially in high heat, might melt and might get a little messy, what I love about these little tubs, these little containers, is that they contain an extra layer of like security against leakage. So they have this little top here, this little seal. So you put your ointment or balm in there, and then the seal snaps on top. You snap that on, and then you put your lid on, so nothing leaks. So like in this case, I made an extra batch of lucid dreaming ointment. It's a little bit softer than my salve, so I put it in here, and this is what I would take to go. Like if I was going on a trip, I would put it in my suitcase or in my purse if I was just staying overnight with family or friends. So yeah, this is kind of convenient to use, and I'll put a link in the description bar on where you can pick up these little containers. And then lastly, I have this soap that I made. I call it my Witchy Glow bedtime soap. And I mean, I love making labels. You probably figured that out by now. I love making labels. This was a really fun label to make. I found this picture online of this beautiful Baroque, like pink Baroque Gothic bedroom. And then I have these like digital paper doll witches that I can put together, and then I added to the picture. And then I called it my Witchy Glow bedtime soap. But here's the soap though. Here's the soap. I added geranium and rose oil to the soap for like its cleansing and you know, lightening and brightening properties. I added frankincense and as well as powdered wormwood. So I would use this at bedtime in conjunction with my flying ointment, especially with that wormwood in the soap. You know, both of those together, you know, I think might aid me in my my lucid dreaming goals. So that's my Witchy Glow bedtime soap. On this shelf, I just keep some extra essential oils, a Himalayan pink salt tea light holder, a little fairy teapot house, and in these trays I have a rusty nail, poppet pins, hawthorns. Here I use this necklace as a pendulum, and then I have these little charms that you can fill up with, you know, herbs or powders or essential oils, and then basically you can just wear them as a necklace. I mean, then on the bottom shelf I have some of my books that I use most often. These two books really have a lot of meaning for me. This is the very first book I ever got that set me towards the path to witchcraft. I remember pretty much exactly when I bought it. I just graduated from college. It was 1995, so it might have been the early summer of 95, and I was in the Half Price Books, and I saw this book and I was fascinated by it, and I took it home, and I kind of never looked back. So this is more, you know, a pagan oriented book, and as you can see, I was just taking all sorts of notes there because all this was new to me at the time. And yeah, Urban Pagan, I still refer back to this every once in a blue moon. It's getting pretty old by now. It's starting to fall apart because I suppose it's just about 25 years old as far as how long I've had it. Might have been a couple years old or so when I bought it. So there's that. And in another book that I got right around the same time, so probably the summer of '95, I picked up, oh shoot, I just ripped the top off. That's okay. I'll figure out a way to put it back on there. Maybe I'll glue it to the first page. Anyway, this was called True Magic. And so this is called True Magic, again, one of the first books I got, about 25 years ago, and called A Beginner's Guide. I remember that this book has a real strong Wiccan bent, and it's probably not in print anymore, I don't know, but I took a lot of notes from here. I believe it or not, this little book, it was published by Llewellyn. This little book really provided me with a lot of information when I was first starting out, and so I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix that. I'll just sit it down there for now. But yeah, I'll never part with that book because it's just so nostalgic for me. Another couple things I was going to show you are a couple videos that I got. I got these videos well before I discovered that YouTube had witchy videos. So at the time, as a means of, obtaining more information, I bought these videos. They're still available today. These two you can find on Amazon. I think they're like maybe just a little bit over $10 each, so they're not too bad. Much of the stuff in these DVDs aren't necessarily new, but I like to have them in my collection along with my other books. One thing that I love about them is they're beautifully produced. They're very professional, beautifully produced. They're just lovely to watch and to look at. This is Magic Rituals. This is Magic Spells. So even though a lot of the information isn't necessarily new to me, there are some spells and rituals that are new to me, so it was nice to learn something new. And if I want to remember, how one of these spells are conducted or what materials to use, every now and then I'll pull these DVDs out and watch them. So yeah, I really like having these in my collection. Let's see, and then the last thing I have down here, yeah, I was working with this tarot deck. I love it. It's the Mystic Fairy Tarot deck. Why I love it so much is it has like this Art Nouveau fairy design. I collect, I still collect fairies, so I love that it has fairies in it, but it also has this Art Nouveau design to it, which Art Nouveau is one of my favorite art forms. I just love it. So just visually, the visual appeal for me of this deck is just great. So that's that shelf. So here in the middle part of my room, I have a few items sitting on top of a couple of storage containers down there. This is really fun. This I made, there's a YouTube channel of a lady who makes fairy houses, and she makes them out of plastic pop bottles, tin foil, and air dry clay. They're fairly easy to make. They're fun to make. So again, these are like, the shape is from pop bottles or soda bottles that you cut and shape. Like the hat was shaped out of tin foil, and basically what you do is you shape it with tin foil and the pop bottles, then you just put some air dry clay on top of everything to smooth it out, and you paint it, and you got a little fairy house. Like last year I found one of her videos where she did like Halloween fairy houses. So this one has a witch hat on it. I just love it. So they're empty underneath. So basically what you do is you put those battery powered little tiny string lights in there, and the lights glow through the windows. So it's just a lot of fun. It's really cute. There's a window up there. It glows through the pumpkin and through the doors windows. So it's a really fun craft. I'll put a link to the YouTube channel so that you can check it out if you're interested. And then over here I just have a couple items. I got some miscellaneous stones and quartz down in here. I got my watchover dolls. Here, I'll show you one of them. They're just so darn cute. A really good friend of mine gave this to me. So it says born to soar. This little watchover doll, and down here it says, I'll help you to spread your wings and become everything that you were meant to be. Just really cute. Nice, cute, positive messages. And back here I have mortar and pestle. This is another little shelving unit that I have that I keep items on. On the top shelf I've got just some shells and sand and ocean water. That's ocean water back there that I picked up the last time I was at the ocean. I got some shells. In here are some shells and sand that I picked up That's a shark's tooth. I didn't find that. I bought it at a souvenir shop not too far from the ocean. Whoops. So I found that. And I love these candles. These come from Yankee Candles, but they have like ocean themes to them. I got a golden sands, a sea coral, ocean star, and beechwood. I thought they were pretty, so I like to keep that on this top. What I'd like to do someday is learn a bit more about ocean magic. I don't really know much about it, but I'd like to research. This next shelf just has miscellaneous items on it. And this little plastic cauldron is a pen. I like to use this pen during spell work. It's really cool. I got this as a present many years ago, but it's a pen that was repurposed from antique silverware. It's really heavy. You know, I don't know if that was a fork or knife or spoon, but it's part of a piece of antique silverware that they converted into a pen. So I thought that was pretty neat. Some candles, some salt, matches, and I love this little tong. I use that for my charcoal discs. And in this container I keep some extra stones and gemstones and crystals in there. But what I really like to use are these little gemstone chips. They're so useful. So I have quite a few of those bagged up, and I like to use those in poppets and in my magical oils and in charm bags, that sort of thing. So I love having those. And then lastly, just this last shelf is really just for miscellaneous stuff. This plastic coffin here just has some miscellaneous things, a little chalice back there, my travel altar, and then a little notepad right there, and then some more books down there. So that's the last shelf that I have here in my witchy room. And the last thing I was going to show is my, this little, it's kind of like a lazy Susan, this little round thing. It spins around. I keep some incense in there, some taper candles. I keep my chime candles down here that I use. It's a cat tree that my cats actually use. They jump to the middle level and then they jump to the top level, and they can look out the window. But I also use it, keep my candles and a little bit of incense in there, and I keep another pack of incense. This one contains, let's see, what I like to do is bundle them up in bags and so I know what they are. So this is like the incense I'll use in my magic. This is incense, I call it my dark magic incense. Like, here's one of my favorites, vampire blood. I love that. I'm going to start burning, now that it's fall, I'm going to start burning that. Here's my nag champas. Of course, I always have to have super hit. And then, let's see, here's another bag of incense. These are some floral incense. These are more magical. I think of them as like magical incense. And here's my Halloween ones. And these are fun. So I got quite a few Halloween ones. These I bought off of Etsy. But these I got at where I used to live. There was a department store called Myers, and they sold these. I love them. They're just maybe a couple bucks each. But this one is called Spooky Brew. It's from Ganesh. And down on the bottom it says apple cider with a hint of spooky stuff. So this is kind of like an apple cider sort of scent. And then I love the packaging on these. I think they're so cool. This one is called Ghostly Glow. And it says, it doesn't have a description on this one. I know it smells really good. I can't remember what it smells like. I'm going to start burning them here pretty soon. But I got a bunch more. Again, I bought these from a site on Etsy. I got Witch's Brew, Werewolf, Ghost Musk, a couple others here. But I love a Witching Hour, so I can't wait to start burning these. And in this bag is just leftover incense. When I run out, I'm almost out of this one. I need to put that in my incense box. So yeah, and then this is a jar that I use to banish anxiety. Got that there. But I guess that's it then for my witchy tour. So thanks so much for watching. Take care.